Good morning, everybody, and a happy Monday morning. This really is a super long video because so much happened on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I smunched it all into one video so we can be up to date on Tuesday. So let's just jump in and cover everything, shall we? Let's go. We're going to start off with King Charles, and this story came out basically saying that the Queen would like him to slow down. But of course, we all know that Charles is not going to slow down. He said that these tours and all the work he's doing is the perfect tonic to his treatments. I love that. Next up, King Charles at Windsor Castle, as head of the Commonwealth, received the Honorable Shirley Botchway. She is now the new Commonwealth Secretary General. Still sticking with King Charles, he's helped celebrate the 80th anniversary of Flying for Life, which is a humanitarian charity that offers support to isolated communities. He helped unveil a new plane that they have. Their CEO, Donovan Palmer, greeted the king. And then the king went on to unveil their new Cessna that they have. Really cool. He hit a button and the door went up and there was the plane. Now, this group, Flying for Life, is believed to be the world's largest humanitarian air operator. They fly to 14,000 remote destinations to deliver support to isolated communities, including access to medicine, technology, and education. So after Charles unveiled the new plane, he went around and he met the staff and volunteers, and he got to look at some of the older aircraft as well as the new Cessna that he helped to unveil. Next up, we have Zara and Mike Tyndall. Now, they asked Mike, would he take a royal title? And he said no. Well, the next day they were photographed at the Randox Grand National. Thank you to Remoulade Sauce for showing us what she was wearing. Let's move on. Let's move on to Prince William. I was so happy to see this fabulous reel came out where Prince William is sitting down and announcing that the next Earthshot Prize is going to take place in Brazil, which was really cool because in the same month, Brazil was going to host the COP30 UN Climate Change Conference. It's being said that this year's Earthshot Prize is being viewed as a curtain raiser to COP, which is due to begin a few days later. So at the gateway of the Amazon, I might add. Anyway, as soon as this was announced, they immediately started showing some of the other Earthshot supporters, which include David Beckham, Kate Blanchett, Hannah Waddington, Heidi Klum, that kind of stuff. I think it's fabulous. This has always been a big event, and I think they said this was supposed to just be going for 10 years, but I have a feeling it's going to go longer than that. Maybe I'm wrong, but Earthshot Prize has been so successful. I just feel like the 10 years isn't going to be long enough. I feel like it's going to go on for longer than that. Just my personal opinion. I swear to you, I think Harry has the Invictus Game social media because the second it came out, Invictus decided to announce that they're going to Egypt for some summer games. Like, you could compete with the Earthshot Prize with that. Give me a break. Let's move on to Andrew. I have to touch on this. Turns out that he and his former advisor went to Windsor Castle twice without being seen to talk to King Charles about an investment fund that was linked to that Chinese spy named Yang Tenbo. Now, Yang Tenbo previously has said he has done nothing wrong or unlawful. I've reported to you guys before that he has been excluded from the UK on national security grounds in 2023 because officials claimed he was in a position to generate relationships between prominent UK figures and senior Chinese officials that could be leveraged for political interference purposes. Mr. Yang, FYI, challenged that decision and lost. Documents are coming out in this legal challenge, including witness statements from Andrew's former senior advisor, Dominic Hampshire, and they were made public this past Friday after a request from several media organizations. And while Buckingham Palace came out and said that the king met with Andrew and his advisor to discuss proposals for independent funding, Mr. Yang was not mentioned at any time or in any way as part of those discussions. As a matter of fact, Mr. Hampshire said in his witness statement that the discussion centered around what Andrew could do moving forward in a way acceptable to the king after his business opportunities dried up because of what happened with Jeffrey Epstein. Part of their discussion centered around an investment vehicle called the Eurasia Fund, and it's that fund that Yang was involved in. The fund was intended to use Chinese investment in renewable energy products in Africa, but it never got off the ground. Apparently, there is no suggestion the king was aware of any security concerns related to this man. Mr. Hampshire reported in his statement that he sought advice from the Lord Chamberlain, then Lord Parker, the former Director General of MI5, and was rebuffed. He said they wouldn't give me any advice, and he dismissed me. He said, and it was 5 months before he was contacted by the intelligence services for a meeting where he was told there might be concerns about Mr. Yang and that he might have some influence. I don't know if Andrew understood what was going on, but I don't think the king knew there were any, problems with Mr. Yang. So I'm not going to drag him in. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to Eugenie. This picture that you're about to see popped up. Apparently, it's the first time a picture of her has come out since it was determined, or it was alleged, that she was in a fight with Harry because she was seen with Piers Morgan. Of course, it came up during Piers Morgan's show. There was some discussion. So I want you to listen to this.
Relationship with his family. We just read that he cut off Eugenie, Princess Eugenie.
Well, that was because of me, actually, the Eugenie thing, because she was having lunch with me and a group of people in a pub in London, and I was seen hugging them goodbye. And Harry saw this and went completely ballistic. I can confirm, breaking news, that is entirely true.
You're doing the Lord's work, Piers.
I told you before, I think Eugenie had to pick a side. And I also told you before, I don't think that was Harry's decision. I think that was Meghan's decision. All right, let's keep it going. Next up, I just wanted to touch on this. Once again, Harry has completely contradicted himself. When the two of them spoke about their 2008 wedding day, even if it wasn't how they originally planned to do things, they knew what was going on. They knew it was going to be a big deal. Harry, however, in the spare, said that he spoke to William about where to have the big day. Apparently, they had discussed having a more private wedding. But in the book, he says he suggested that he get married to Meghan at Westminster Abbey, where William and Catherine had been married. And then he also suggested, are you ready? St. Paul's Cathedral, because that, after all, is where Diana and Charles were married. And he said, I told William we were thinking of Westminster Abbey. No good. We did it there. Right. St. Paul's? $2,000, plus Ma and Pa did it there. Good point. He suggested Tetbury. I snorted, Tetbury? The chapel near Highgrove? Seriously, Willie, how many does that place seat? And then Harry then wrote in the book that William said he suggested that because he thought the couple wanted a small wedding, something they themselves had claimed that they wanted. Harry said William's response was, isn't that what you said you wanted, a small, quiet wedding? Because in the memoir, he also added that what the two of them really wanted to do was elope to Botswana and get married barefoot with maybe a friend officiating. That was our dream. But we weren't expecting to share this moment with other people. It wasn't up to us. Bull crap. You know who wanted Westminster Abbey? You know who wanted St. Paul's Cathedral? Yeah, we know what's going on here. All right, let's move on to the jelly or the jam or the spread, whatever you want to call it. All right, let's move on to the whole jelly debacle. First of all, I think this YouTuber said it perfectly. Basically, Meghan's not responsible for anything. She's just hoping to make money from it. And there's even a statement at the bottom of her website that says that she's not responsible for it. Also, and I'd like to thank whoever on Twitter had this is the kind of stuff she's written on the side of her packaging because you're an idiot who doesn't know how to make tea. All right. I didn't buy any products, but somebody else did, and they did a taste testing on her jam. This is going to be really short and sweet. I think this is a fair person because this isn't somebody who likes her or hates her. This is just a publication. Now, keep in mind that per Food and Wine, jam is regulated by the FDA. It must come from a single fruit and it has to have at least 45% fruit and 55% sugar. Well, Meghan said in her Netflix show that her preserves can't be called jam because jam is equal parts of jam and sugar, which is actually not true. So what Meghan is selling is not jam or a preserve, it's a spread. So it has raspberries, cane sugar, lemon juice, and fruit pectin. So they claim on Saturday morning, FedEx dropped off this box, and when they opened it up, they found a quote-unquote handwritten note from Meghan right on the top. Basically, it was a copy, you know what I mean? They copied. So anyway, she says, we wade through the packaging to find this jam, and it was in the keepsake packaging because you had no other choice but to order that at the initial launch. She said you can't reuse the packaging because of the jam-shaped hole in the bottom. The jar felt very small in your hand, especially when you compared it to other preserves that, you could buy for less money and a bigger package. She said what really mattered here was the taste, so it might be in a bit of a problem. So she says immediately upon opening the jar, you could see the texture. The spread was thin and very liquidy, quote unquote loose, if you will. If we'd known better, we would have thought it melted during the journey to us. Well, with that being said, it had a hint of lemon and a fluid texture. A jar of jam is thicker and sticks together, but when we stuck our spoon, she said, into the raspberry spread, it dripped off the silverware like a sauce, and it was very unappealing. As for the taste, they reported it was very sweet, like really sweet. It was reminiscent of a sugary raspberry dessert sauce rather than the jam or spread it's meant to be eaten on a piece of toast. They then took this spread and put it on some toast. It was sourdough bread. She said it was difficult to eat the spread with the toast. It was so thin it dribbled everywhere. It made a mess. And not long after that, their toasted piece of bread became a sopping wet disaster. This person then went and bought 2 other raspberry jellies from the store to try, and they said they were so thick if you stuck the spoon in it, it would stay upright. And it didn't leave their toast soggy. So they said if Meghan wants to continue down this route, she's going to need to change her recipe. She said the taste is there, but the consistency takes away from the product and makes it an absolute fail. So out of 5 stars, they gave her 2. Now, another problem happened. We know that there were websites, and this problem leads me to believe that what we said before is correct. They don't have the stock. I think they had like 50 jars of honey for the stock. So this person on Twitter got this email saying that she apparently caused a glitch in the matrix. She ordered honey, which now she's not getting. So the As Ever site sent out a message saying, oh, it's been a whirlwind week. Thank you so much for your support. I'm sorry to hear what happened to your order. Due to overselling, we couldn't get you the limited edition honey. Please know we worked very hard in every department, blah, blah, blah. I know it's not the same. So when our next limited edition drop happens, you won't be the first to know. You'll be the first to get it. No need to order. It will come to you in the mail as a gift from me. Then the emails went out and they said, we hope you're having a wonderful day. On behalf of the As Ever team, we want to thank you for your support, blah, blah, blah. The orders were happening so quickly, the back end of the site didn't have a chance to keep up. And the limited edition honey that you purchased was unfortunately already sold out. We were so very sorry and will be refunding your purchase of this item. As I told you in my previous video, the distributing site has issues in the past with shipping and, coming up with people's stuff. And also a very well-placed source said the items were made available in very small quantities and quickly marked as sold out to generate interest, which is a common marketing ploy, which is what I firmly believe she did. So far, except for the Sussex squad that seems excited, the products themselves, I don't think they're going to do well. That's just my personal opinion. All right, now, one other thing. Somebody pointed out that Rebecca English confirmed Dr. Chaduka's claims that she got an email from Harry. When that whole thing happened on the stage, Harry essentially sent her a text message saying, explain yourself. What are you going to do about this? This is all going to come out. We're going to see it all. But I agree with Cassandra Hawkins. Harry and Meghan demand respect from everybody, but they never show respect to anybody. It's just crazy. I mean, I completely agree with what she said. It's absolutely true. All right, let's move on now. All right, now I needed to touch on this story. When did Harry and Meghan realize the public had turned against them? Well, I think it was the Platinum Jubilee. Remember, they were supposed to arrive with Eugenie and Jack, and they were deliberately late because they wanted to walk in by themselves. This is what they asked for. Look at the faces of the people as they're walking past. Nobody during this walk of shame, they thought it was the walk of fame, it was the walk of shame. Look at the faces of these people. Nobody really looked very happy to see them. And look at Harry's face. He just looked angry because he knew what was going on. Now they got to the end and he was hoping that everybody would just scooch in and, we'll just be on the aisle. And the usher said, no, this is where you're going to sit. Harry said, who told you where I was going to sit? And the usher goes, your grandmother. So all of that delay was for absolutely nothing. The whole row had to come out and make room for Harry and Meghan. And that happened again because Harry and Meghan deliberately made themselves late so that they wouldn't show up with them. So everybody shuffles out. They sit where they're supposed to sit in the first place. And then eventually, after talking for a few minutes, the procession started. Catherine looked gorgeous in yellow, I remember. But what I also remembered was Meghan's reaction. You can see inside the red circles where Meghan was. And what happened was, as Catherine was walking up, Meghan turned her head to the left. She refused to even look at her. And at one point, Catherine also was seen rolling her eyes. So yeah, nobody was really happy about the entire situation. Now, during the entire thing, Harry sat there looking miserable, bored. I think it dawned on him that he'd been completely sidelined from the family. And it was at this event where I think they decided they weren't going to attend any of the other events. As they walked out, they were as far in the back as you could possibly get. And who can forget what happened as they were walking down the steps? Here you go. So the article says, is this when the penny dropped for the two of them? Yeah. All right, let's go back to Daniel Martin. He seems to have taken Omid Scobie's spot. I told you already he's attacked Bethany Frankel and Meghan McCain. Well, now there's a London-based fashion design student named Maria Sampson who commented on an article about, Meghan's first episode of her show. And Daniel Martin apparently took grave offense to this, and he mocked her fashion designs, which she displays on her Instagram. Can you believe that? He wrote, like your designs, he jeered at her. Don't come for my friend without receipts. So here's the connection for most of you who don't see it. This man attacked then, according to Taz, a major YouTube account, and he attacked it with a personal opinion and really nasty comments. So I want you to understand this was posted on a major troll account on Twitter that attacks people. So basically, Meghan is friends with Daniel and Daniel is in touch with the troll account. So what does that tell you? And of course, as soon as this all came out, Daniel was like, I've been harassed and bullied for sticking up for my friend. Yeah, the same friend who didn't even know you were left-handed. What's being said now is that with everything going on, Harry is alone and heartbroken and spiraling. Dude, you made your bed. You're going to have to lie in it. That's the way life works. Also, as you're listening to this on Monday, know that on Tuesday, Harry's going to court in the UK the same day that Meghan's Lemonada is dropping. And that was also done intentionally to draw the attention. And finally, Meghan put up another weird Instagram movie. I don't know what these are supposed to be. It shows her hugging her dog like a baby. She's snapping, she's dancing, she's showing the other dog. But the weirdest part was apparently her mother is living with her because her mother's constantly there. And at one point, her mother walks into the room and you hear in a child's voice, "Hi, Mommy." And I thought, oh my God, like there's something really wrong with her. But irregardless, Doria's living there, and these weird posts keep coming out, and I don't know what they're supposed to be, but to be fair, I just really don't care. Oh my goodness. Okay, you guys know what to do. Hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell, and then go down into the description box where you'll find the links to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, my Amazon wish list, a link to my father's book, which is up for sale, and a link to my second channel where my recipes are, as well as a physical address. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.